right? And so the purpose of this podcast is to bring a sense of consciousness to humanity and a sense of awakening, freedom, and just sharing my inner light. And so I remember when I first stepped into this leadership role, and it was when I made the decision to become a yoga instructor. And it was the scariest thing I ever did. My biggest fear was public speaking. And I truly, truly feel as though everything that you desire is on the other side of your greatest fear. And that was like the first step into really recognizing myself as a leader and also really stepping into this role as an entrepreneur, right? We've been taught from a young age not to be a leader. We've been taught to be a follower, right? Think about it. Think about this for a moment. You went to school, you graduated from high school, or maybe you didn't, and we're encouraged, society encourages you to spend tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college for 4 to 12 years and beyond. And most likely you're not getting paid during that time that you're going to school. And then when you graduate, you're encouraged to get a job, a job, a just over broke, for the next 40 to 45 years, work the same job until you're 65 to 75 years old, and then retire when your health has most likely declined and you're not in your highest potential, right? And so we as a society have been given this American dream, right? That they've labeled it this American dream. And the reality is that the American dream is not working any longer. And so no longer are we trading our lunchbox for a briefcase, right? We are stepping into entrepreneurship, right? And entrepreneurship is the decision to become a self-led leader, to say yes to yourself, to tell the world and to figure it out, right? And so by the end of this episode, you will understand how to step into your authentic leadership potential and empower others authentically, right? Because there are two types of leaders, right? The leader that you're most likely familiar with is a leader of followers. And what I really want to encourage you to step into the potential of becoming a leader of leaders, right? So first things first, I want to redefine leadership as a spiritual act, right? Leadership is not about control. I repeat, leadership is not about control, right? It is about service, it's about guidance and creating space for others to grow, right? And so humans learn by making mistakes. Entrepreneurs learn by making mistakes. We learn by falling, we learn by failing, right? Think for a moment about Henry Ford, right? Henry Ford is the inventor of the vehicle, and Ford failed over and over and over again, thousands and thousands of times, right? If he had listened to everyone else, you would still be riding around in a horse and buggy. Am I right? Right? One of his well-known quotes is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. And so the point of that story is that failure is simply feedback, right? You know, in school, right, you're taught to learn by lectures, by reading and studying and then taking a test, right? Let's say there are 10 questions on a test and you make 3 mistakes. The teacher will give you a 70%, right? And the class moves on to the next lesson, right? The school system completely disregards the most important part of the test, right? The mistake. And rather than you learning from your mistakes, students are instead punished for making them. And many students leave school feeling stupid, not smart, and fearful of making mistakes and less self-confident about their ability to learn, right? And mistakes also, they also tell the teacher what a student does not know. And in many cases, what the teacher failed to teach, right? And so Mistakes are opportunities for both the student and the teacher to get smarter, right? So a year after graduation, right, most students have forgotten 75% of the quote unquote like right answers, right? And so what they never forget though are the negative messages and the emotions that are tied to those messages, right? Don't make mistakes. People who make mistakes are stupid, right? And so my biggest piece of advice for you is to pay attention, right? Pay attention to the mistakes, pay attention to the wobbles and the falls. Wake up and pay attention, right? Mistakes and failures, they are simply telling you something that you don't know yet, right? You have to experience the failures to know for sure that is not what you want to do, right? And that is what entrepreneurship is all about, right? It's stepping into this unknown territory, and you may have to experience failure hundreds or even thousands of times before you actually learn the lesson, right? And everything, and I mean everything, is either a lesson or an opportunity, right? Everything is either a lesson or an opportunity. And so once you reframe your mindset to recognize that failure is simply feedback, your entire life shifts, right? So I want to encourage you to go out there and fail as much as possible, right? Fail yourself forward, right? And celebrate the failures, right? Because you are one step closer to creating your dream life, right? It's literally like most people, they quit the final step before the breakthrough, the final step before the breakthrough, right? Oftentimes there is the breakdown before the breakthrough, right? It's one more step, one more step, the power of one more, right? Ed Milet talks about this all the time on his podcast, the power of one more, right? It's not about the final destination. It's about taking it one step at a time. Take one step and then one more step and then one more step after that, and then one more step after that, right? It's literally, it's just about taking it one step at a time, right? And so the shift is shifting from this employee mindset, this leader of followers mindset into a leader of leaders mindset, right? And it's all about a mindset shift. Everything is all about shifting your mindset, because the majority of the stuff that we have been taught from a young age, my mentor has literally said, whatever you think, just think the opposite. Like a great book that gives this example is called How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. And he really gets down into it. I think it's like 100 chapters maybe, and each chapter is just like, okay, this is the mindset, and then this is the opposite mindset. And every single chapter goes through these different mindset shifts of like, this is how the middle class, which the majority of the world, 95% of the population is the middle class. And then there's this 5% that is the world class. And the only thing that is the difference between these people is the way they're thinking, right? They are thinking differently. You get to completely shift your mindset, right? Because there's this one perspective that you have, one perspective of how you view the world. And there is a second perspective, right? There's always two sides to a coin. There's always the other side to the story, right? And so when becoming a leader of leaders, right, it's all about the qualities that you have, right, that you show up with. And one of the most important qualities of a leader is authenticity, right? Authenticity means having the power to be you, right? Owning every single part of yourself. All of those things that you have shoved into the closet for the majority of your life, right? The things that you have blame over, the things that you have shame over, the things that you have resentment over, the mistakes that you made, the failures that you did, right? allowing yourself to own all of those things and recognizing that your pain gets to become your power and your mess gets to become your message, right? That's what this podcast is all about, right? Awakening the light within you, becoming conscious, becoming aware, and stepping into your truest, most authentic self, right? And in order to become truly authentic, another important quality is integrity, right? And integrity is having courage over fear, right? Courage over comfort zone, right? Integrity means doing the thing that you said you were going to do, right? Because the big shift from employee to entrepreneur, the big shift is that nobody's going to be telling you, you've got to do this and you've got to do this and you've got to do this, or you're going to get fired, right? It's like you've got to leave yourself first. You've got to figure out, okay, these are the IPAs, these are the income producing activities. Figure out what those things are with intentions, set the intention that you're going to do the things. And then integrity means having the courage to do the thing that you said you were going to do, right? And so another important quality in a conscious leader, right, is compassion. And compassion not only for those all around you, but most specifically, most importantly, is tapping into this compassion for yourself, right? Becoming aware of the thoughts that you are thinking. And are you being compassionate with yourself, or are you judging yourself? Are you in this state of worry and self doubt and fear and insecurity, right? Because that is not being compassionate for yourself, right? Letting go of the judgment and the worries, right? Letting that go and replacing it with love, right? Love always wins. Like love always wins. And I can tell you what, the more and more that I've been able to step into my most authentic and aligned self over the last 2 years as I've really, stepped into entrepreneurship and stepped into leading myself, right? I have really just feel myself becoming a magnet, right? I feel as though I'm just like aligning with these beautiful and incredible souls that are just like me. I'm literally just one step ahead of them, and I get to lead the way, and I get to just show them like this is the path, this is the next step, right? I remember when I first made the decision to lead a yoga retreat, right? And it's so scary, right? Of course, it was scary to teach, my first yoga class. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to do a yoga retreat. And a yoga retreat is like multiple days, right? The first one that I did was like 5 days long. And I'm the hostess with the mostest for the entire, what is it, like over 100 hours, right? Of just like leading other people and really allowing people to step into this transformation. And it's scary, right? Because you don't necessarily know what exactly to do, and you don't know if what you're going to offer is going to work, and the only way to find out is to take massive action and learn from your mistakes, right? And so stepping into leadership, right, is really about stepping into self-awareness, right? It is the foundation of leadership. And so I want you to ask yourself some questions, right? Tony Robbins always says that the quality of questions that you ask yourself determines the quality of your life. So I want to encourage you to identify the qualities that you now have as a leader, right? Do you see yourself as a leader? Do you see yourself as a leader? Because you have got to see yourself as a leader before you're actually a leader, right? We've been taught from a young age that you've got to, when I see it, I'll believe it, right? When I see it, I'll believe it. But no, you've actually got to believe it first, and then you see it, right? So do you see yourself as a leader, or are you hiding? Are you hiding behind doors? Are you hiding behind your whatever, right? Are you hiding in your life, or are you an ambassador, right? Are you an innovator, right? Are you independent, or are you dependent, right? Are you a leader? Are you a leader of leaders, right? What questions are you asking yourself? What qualities are you leading with, right? so some of my top core values are health, right? Authenticity, I've already talked about that. Health, awesome, authenticity, freedom, right? And there's four freedoms that come along with freedom, right? Freedom is health freedom, of course. I just talked about how the core value is health, right? Health freedom, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. When you are sick, the only thing that you desire is to be healthy again, right? And in order to really truly live with yourself with all of the other freedoms, right? Time freedom, financial freedom, and inner freedom, right? And inner freedom comes back to, what are you saying to yourself, right? Are you living with compassion? Are you being kind to yourself, right? And so really stepping into all four of those freedoms are the four tires on your car, right? Because you can't do it with just three tires, right? You're gonna be a little lopsided. You gotta have all four tires in order to find that full freedom in your life. And so some of my strengths, I know that I am, my superpower is calm. Calm is my superpower, right? Staying calm under pressure. And how I stay calm is coming back to my breath, right? I always say this to my students in my yoga classes, right? Your breath is the greatest tool in your tool belt, right? When you feel those feelings, those sensations, the tightness in your throat and your heart beating faster, maybe heating up, right? Those feelings of anxiety and stress and worry, right? When you feel those sensations coming in your body, take a breath in and a breath out, and watch how every exhale allows you to relax a little bit more, to get a little bit more calmer, right? And so that is one of my biggest secrets, right? Another one of my strengths is inspiring others, right? And the only reason that I am able to inspire others is because of all the pain, all of the hardships, all of the challenges, all of the difficult things that I've been through, that I have been able to get to the other side. And one thing I'm certain of is you cannot change the past. I repeat, you cannot change the past. And what you can do is change the meaning behind the past, right? You can give the past a new meaning. You can forgive yourself, right? And so that is what I've been able to do with the majority of the hardships in my life, is I've been able to turn that pain into my power. Hence this podcast, right? Awaken the light within, right? And so empowering and inspiring transformation is others, right? It's really stepping into leading by example, right? In order to lead others, you really got to lead yourself first, right? And so leading yourself first, figuring out the IPAs, the income producing activities, doing those things yourself, and then the ripple effect. People are like, okay, that's what she's doing. I'm going to do the thing too, right? And then the results come, right? And so one of the most famous speeches in the world is the Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech, right? I have a dream. And I love Martin Luther King. I love Ed Milet so much. One of my favorite quotes from him is, "It takes leaders with vision to help people with dreams. It takes leaders with visions to help people with dreams. It takes leaders with vision to help people with dreams," right? Martin Luther King had a dream. I have a dream. You have a dream. Every single person you meet has a dream. Everyone was born with a dream in their heart, and there's a heart that can dream, right? And as we get older, right, a lot of times these dreams, they can change, they can transform, they can evolve, right? And they can also even like die, and they can get buried, right? Your dream could be to help millions of people. Your dream could be to become a mother or become a father, or your dream could be to have a particular career or a particular body with a particular set of emotions, right? Perhaps your dream is to begin to be happy, right? I'm tired of living down or sad or angry. And every human being you meet has a dream, and it might be a big one and it might be a tiny one. Their dream might be, can I get through today with a little bit of peace, a little bit of bliss, right?
I remind myself daily of that when I meet new human beings, right? Every person has a dream, and some people have lots of dreams, right? Brothers and sisters have dreams, oftentimes different. Even fraternal and identical twins, right, have different dreams. Like the server at the restaurant that you barely made eye contact with, like that person has a dream, and maybe it's just that you'll acknowledge them, right? Their dream might be they want to be the best server that they can be. They might want to write a book, right? That's why they were born, to live a dream. You were born to make your dreams come true. You were born with a purpose. You were born with a unique qualities that nobody else in the entire world can do. And what those people are looking for is a leader. They're looking for you. And all a leader means is, I can help you, right? I can see something that you don't see. I see a potential, right? As a leader of a company, right? It takes leaders with vision to help people with dreams. You need to begin to work on your vision, right? If you are a mother, what is your vision for your family? What is your future vision? What is your vision for your children? And are you selling your family the dream, the vision, right? You are sowing seeds in them of visionary leadership, right? And so, really just allowing yourself to realize your dream and realize that you are worthy of your dream, right? And so, I would encourage you to get a piece of paper, right? Get a bigger vision for yourself. Write it down, a bigger vision for, you're an entrepreneur, write a bigger vision for your company. And after you have those things that you wish for, to work on the development of selling the dream, right? You don't have to have a compelling vision. It's got to be bigger than your fears. It's got to be bigger than your fears, right? And so some common fears as a leader, right? It's so, so common to question your path, right? Imposter syndrome, right? What is imposter syndrome even, right? It's that nagging voice that says, who am I to lead, right? Who am I to lead? I've never led before. I'm not good enough. I'm not experienced enough. I don't know enough. I'm not successful enough, right? And this is often rooted in comparison. As leaders, we tend to focus on what others are doing rather than recognizing our own unique value. Your value, right? And so, how to overcome imposter syndrome, right? Remember that leadership isn't about knowing everything. It's not about knowing everything. It's about being one step ahead of the people that you are helping, right? And so, confidence comes from experience. The more you step into leadership, the quieter that inner critic will become, right? And so, really reflect on your purpose. For you, it might be helping people awaken to their potential, right? To find freedom or to live healthier or more aligned lives, right? One of the mantras that I love to repeat on a daily basis is, I am exactly where I need to be, and my journey is my unique gift to the world, right? I'm exactly where I need to be, and my journey is my unique gift to the world. Right. And so another big one, we've already spoken about it briefly, right, is fear of judgment, right? And so what is the fear of judgment, right? The fear of being criticized or misunderstood by others, right? Whether it's your audience, your peers, or even your family and your close friends, right? And leadership often requires standing out and challenging the status quo. It's vulnerable, right? It is so vulnerable to put yourself out there and risk rejection, right? And the thing about stepping into your leadership is you're gonna get rejected, you're gonna fall over, you're gonna fail. And how to overcome it is shift your attention away from the critics, right? Perspective shift and shift it towards the lives you are changing, embracing authenticity, right? Not everyone is gonna resonate with your message, and that is a-okay, right? Your voice will attract the people that is meant to hear it, right? Your message is your medicine, and your medicine is not going to be for everyone, and that is a-okay, right? And criticism is inevitable for is inevitable for leaders, right? Instead of fearing it, view it as feedback that helps you grow stronger, right? It helps you grow stronger. I remember when I taught my very first yoga class, I was so afraid of being judged. My first yoga class was actually in front of like the majority of the yoga teachers at the yoga studio that I fell in love with yoga at. They showed up and it was like so scary. And I was like so scared that they were going to judge me because I was brand new and they've been teaching. And then I was like, wait a minute, what am I even afraid of? What am I even afraid of? Like when you actually like voice out some of your fears, you're like, no, these people, do you know what they did? You know what they did when I finished that first yoga class? Almost everybody started crying. They were clapping. They were celebrating me. They were so excited because I did it, right? And so you've got to just do the damn thing, right? And not everyone is going to understand your light, and that's okay, right? You are here to serve those that do, right? And so worthiness, right? This is another big one, is worthiness, right? The belief that you are not enough to lead, right? Whether you're too old or too young, or you started too late, or it's not enough, right? Whether it's this feeling of unworthy of success, unworthy of wealth, or the responsibility of guiding others, right? Many of us are conditioned to tie our worth to external achievements or societal expectations, and how to overcome it is that you do not need to earn your right to lead, right? Your experiences, your authenticity and heart are what make you worthy, right? I want to encourage you to make a list right now of 25 things that you have done in your life, right? Because I know that you have got a massive list of all of these things that make you worthy of every single thing that you deserve, right? You are worthy of everything that you desire, right? So really acknowledging your past successes is going to be huge for you. Like write it down in your journal. Like no matter how small or how big, remind yourself the impact that you have already made. And when you focus on serving others, you naturally feel more aligned and less caught up in self-doubt, right? And leadership is not about perfection, right? Give yourself grace when things don't go as planned, right? A mantra that I like to repeat to myself is, I am worthy of leading and inspiring others simply by being myself. The more authentic I am, the more I get paid. The more authentic I am, the more I get paid, right? So just recognize that you are more than enough exactly as you are. The world needs your light, the world needs your voice, and the world needs your leadership. So do not let fear hold you back from stepping into your power, right? So we talked about authentic leadership. We talked about self-awareness. And we talked about empowering others through service and vision, right? So I want to encourage you to open up your journal again. I'm a huge journaler. In fact, I'm reading a book called The Artist's Way right now. And if you haven't read it, another book I highly encourage you to check out. It's like a 12-week kind of like course that you go through, and there's exercises at the end. And the very first chapter of the book, it actually introduces this idea called morning pages. And so basically, immediately when you wake up, before you do anything else, I take out my journal and I just free write with a pencil to paper for 3 pages. And sometimes I'm like, I have nothing to write right now. And sometimes it just flows and flows and flows. And that's what you do. You just get to get over the hump, right? Just write for 3 pages and see what comes up. You don't have to go back and read it. You just write for 3 pages and close it up, right? And so opening up your journal, I want you to journal on what kind of leader do you aspire to be? And how can you start embodying that today? Right? How can you start embodying that today? Right? The world is waiting for your light. Step into your power and watch the ripple effect of your leadership. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering you on. And I'll talk to you on the next.